Have you ever felt like your business is thriving, revenue is soaring, but you are drowning? You're working harder than ever, stress levels are through the roof, and the joy you once felt is replaced by an overwhelming sense of pressure. This isn't a sign of failure. It's a common, yet rarely discussed, phase of growth. Today, we're diving deep into why growth often makes life worse before it makes it better, and how you can navigate this challenging but ultimately rewarding journey with clarity and control. Welcome back to The Profitable Owner. This channel is dedicated to empowering business owners, entrepreneurs, and startup founders like you with the financial literacy and strategic insights needed to build truly sustainable and enjoyable businesses. We believe in making calmer, smarter decisions, free from fear, pressure, or guesswork. In our previous episodes, we tackled critical topics: understanding true profitability, mastering owner pay without stress, and safeguarding your business from cash flow pitfalls. These foundational elements are crucial because today, we're confronting one of the most perplexing challenges: growth itself. We're not just talking about a motivational concept. We're exploring growth as a profound financial and personal transition. By the end of this video, you'll gain a vital understanding of why growth almost always increases stress initially, why more revenue can paradoxically create more pressure, and how growth inevitably exposes every weak link in your operations. Most importantly, you'll learn to view growth as a deliberate decision, not an automatic default. This isn't about being anti-growth. It's about embracing pro-clarity, ensuring your business serves your life, not the other way around. Growth sells an incredibly appealing story, one that many of us, as ambitious business owners, eagerly buy into. We're constantly told that once the business is bigger, everything will be easier. The narrative suggests that increased revenue will magically dissolve stress, and scaling up will finally grant us the freedom to get our life back. It's a powerful vision, a beacon of hope for every entrepreneur striving for success. Sometimes, this idyllic future does materialize, but rarely without a significant, often grueling, middle phase. This is the period that business gurus and motivational speakers often gloss over, leaving you feeling isolated and confused when your reality doesn't match the promise. It's a critical oversight that can lead to burnout and disillusionment. This middle phase is where the true test of entrepreneurship lies. It's a time when your responsibilities multiply far faster than your immediate rewards, creating an imbalance that can feel overwhelming. Complexity doesn't just grow, it explodes, often long before any semblance of stability can be established. And in this maelstrom, the owner, you, inevitably become the primary absorber of all this escalating pressure. Growth promises relief, but its initial delivery is almost always strain. One of the most pervasive and damaging misconceptions in the entrepreneurial world is the belief that more revenue automatically translates to more freedom. This idea is deeply ingrained, yet it often leads business owners down a path of increased stress and decreased personal well-being. The truth is, revenue itself is a neutral metric. Its impact is entirely determined by the underlying structure of your business. As your revenue begins to climb, a critical shift occurs. Expenses, often unexpectedly, tend to grow first, sometimes even outpacing the revenue increase. You might find yourself needing more staff, larger premises, or more sophisticated tools, all of which come with significant costs. Payroll, once a flexible expense, quickly becomes a fixed and substantial commitment, demanding consistent cash flow regardless of immediate sales fluctuations. With growth come increased commitments to clients, to employees, to suppliers. These commitments add layers of responsibility and reduce your operational flexibility. Crucially, as your business scales, the cost of mistakes skyrockets. A small error that was easily absorbed in a smaller operation can become a financially devastating blow in a larger, more complex structure. Until your internal systems and processes mature and catch up with your growth, this expansion actually increases your business's fragility, not its resilience. This is precisely why so many business owners find themselves uttering the disheartening phrase, "I made more money this year, but I feel worse." It's a common sentiment, and it's vital to understand that nothing has inherently gone wrong. You haven't failed. Instead, you've simply entered a new, challenging, and often misunderstood phase of your business journey. Recognizing this phase is the first step toward navigating it successfully. Growth doesn't create problems out of thin air. It acts as a powerful magnifying glass, revealing every existing flaw and inefficiency within your business. It's an unsparing audit that exposes the cracks in your foundation that were previously hidden or manageable. What were once minor inconveniences can quickly become critical bottlenecks, threatening to derail your progress. For instance, weak cash flow management systems, which might have been barely adequate during leaner times, become glaringly obvious and dangerously insufficient when revenue increases. The need for more working capital, the timing mismatches between payments received and payments due, all become amplified. Similarly, poor delegation practices, where the owner shoulders too much responsibility, transform from a bad habit into a painful, unsustainable burden. You simply cannot do everything yourself when the volume of work doubles or triples. Even something as fundamental as unclear owner pay, which we discussed in a previous episode, becomes a source of immense stress. If your personal finances are intertwined with the business's fluctuating cash flow, growth can exacerbate this instability, making your own compensation feel even more precarious. Small inefficiencies that were survivable, perhaps even charmingly quirky, in a smaller operation suddenly become critical impediments to scaling. They drain resources, waste time, and frustrate your team. While this exposure can feel incredibly discouraging, even overwhelming, it's actually an invaluable gift. Growth acts like a powerful spotlight, illuminating precisely what needs to change next. It provides undeniable evidence of where your systems are failing and where your processes need urgent attention. The common mistake entrepreneurs make is to interpret this difficulty as a sign of personal failure, thinking, if growth feels this hard, I must be doing something wrong. In most cases, the opposite is true. Growth feels hard because it's working. It's pushing your business to its limits, forcing necessary evolution. During periods of rapid growth, the business owner often inadvertently becomes the primary buffer for all the emerging challenges. You are the shock absorber, the last line of defense against chaos. This isn't a conscious choice, but rather a natural, albeit unsustainable, response to the escalating demands of an expanding enterprise. You absorb the financial uncertainty, often delaying your own compensation to ensure employees and suppliers are paid. You shoulder the emotional stress, internalizing the anxieties of increased responsibility and the fear of failure. Operational gaps, whether in staffing, processes, or technology, are often filled by your sheer willpower and extra hours. This leads to decision overload, as every new client, every new hire, every new problem lands squarely on your desk. You find yourself working longer hours, sacrificing personal time, and carrying an immense weight of responsibility that can feel crushing. From an external perspective, your business appears to be a resounding success. Revenue is up, new clients are coming in, and the company is expanding. Yet, on the inside, you, the owner, feel stretched thin, exhausted, and often isolated. This isn't a character flaw or a sign of weakness. It's a predictable and almost inevitable phase of expansion when growth outpaces the development of robust internal structures and systems. Recognizing this pattern is crucial for your long-term well-being and the sustainable health of your business. It highlights the urgent need to build systems that can share the load, rather than allowing the owner to become the sole pressure point. Beyond the operational and emotional strain, there's a profound financial reason why growth often triggers a sense of danger and anxiety. It fundamentally alters your business's financial landscape, often in ways that are counterintuitive. The core issue is that costs associated with growth almost always arrive before the corresponding revenue stabilizes. You might need to hire new staff, invest in new equipment, or expand your marketing efforts well in advance of seeing the full return on those investments. This creates significant timing mismatches in your cash flow. You're paying out money today for revenue that might not materialize for weeks or even months. This lag can quickly deplete your working capital, making your cash buffers thinner and your business more vulnerable to unexpected expenses or delays in payment from clients. Even if your growth is profitable on paper, meaning your revenue eventually exceeds your costs, the cash flow required to fuel that growth can be immense. This phenomenon is why growth is often described as consuming cash. It's a hungry beast that demands constant feeding, even when it's leading to greater profitability down the line. Your intuition, sensing this increased financial exposure and the thinning of your safety nets, naturally triggers anxiety. It's a primal warning signal that your risk profile has increased. The critical point here is not to ignore that signal or dismiss it as irrational fear. Instead, the goal is to acknowledge it and respond with deliberate, strategic structure rather than succumbing to panic or making impulsive decisions. Understanding this financial dynamic is key to managing growth proactively. The conventional wisdom often treats growth as an automatic, always desirable outcome. However, for the profitable owner, growth should never be automatic. It must be intentional, strategic, and deeply aligned with your personal and business goals. This shift in perspective is fundamental to transforming growth from a burden into a blessing. Healthy growth begins by asking critical questions that prioritize sustainability and owner well-being. Can your business truly absorb mistakes without collapsing? Every expansion brings new risks, and your systems must be robust enough to handle inevitable missteps. Is your owner pay protected, ensuring that your personal financial stability isn't sacrificed at the altar of business expansion? This is a non-negotiable for long-term entrepreneurial health. And critically, are your systems keeping pace with your growth, or are they constantly playing catch-up, leaving you perpetually overwhelmed? Growth is not merely a badge of honor to be worn proudly. It is a complex financial decision with inherent trade-offs. Sometimes, slower, more stable growth is not just preferable, but essential. This deliberate pace often leads to better decision-making, as you have the time and space to analyze, plan, and implement changes thoughtfully. It significantly reduces stress, allowing you to enjoy the journey rather than constantly battling fires. Ultimately, this measured approach fosters more durable success, building a resilient business that can withstand future challenges. Growth should serve the business and, crucially, the owner, not consume them both. It's vital to understand that growth itself is not the enemy. It's a natural and often necessary part of a business's life cycle. However, unexamined growth pursued blindly without strategic foresight or a clear understanding of its implications, is profoundly dangerous. It can lead to burnout, financial instability, and ultimately, the collapse of an otherwise promising venture. A truly profitable owner understands that certain phases of growth will inevitably be harder before they become easier. This isn't a sign of failure. It's a predictable part of the entrepreneurial journey. They recognize that the pressure they feel is often temporary, a signal that their business is evolving and demanding new levels of structure and sophistication. They know that for scale to be sustainable, their internal systems and processes must catch up, transforming chaos into controlled expansion. The ultimate goal is not relentless, constant expansion at any cost. Instead, the objective is sustainable progress, growth that is deliberate, manageable, and ultimately enhances the quality of life for the owner and the health of the business. It's about building a business that not only thrives financially, but also provides the freedom and fulfillment you envisioned when you first started. If growth has made your life harder, please know that it doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're in transition, navigating one of the most challenging yet transformative phases of business ownership. With clarity, strategic structure, and a healthy dose of patience, growth can eventually become the powerful engine that supports your life rather than consuming it. In our next episode, we'll delve into the biggest financial mistakes solo business owners make and why it's so incredibly common. Please like this video if you have enjoyed it or received any benefit from it. Every one of your likes truly encourages us to continue creating helpful content. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day.